that film is actually it's kind of annoying because I made it, you know, as I say, 35, well, more than that, 30, more than 35 years ago now. But it's probably still my best known film, and one of the reasons for that actually is that it's had a much wider circulation than a lot of my films, because it is on a there's a kind of commercial DVD of British short films called Cinema 16, which is mainly kind of short films by mainstream feature directors and things, but this film happens to be on that. And I was really interested when that DVD got released, because it was a very, popular DVD, that reading reviews of it in kind of mainstream film journals and things like that, not highbrow things, because of more entertainment-based film journals, they would describe this film as a film about a frustrated film director who hasn't got the budget to make a real film, and describe it as a comedy. It's a comedy about a frustrated film director. So I think there are different ways of looking.
What was your budget?
One roll of film.
One of the other things I like about it, I just heard here before, is how we scrutinise our images after we film them. Like, whereas when one's filming, you can't take everything on the iPhone. And then here you really scrutinise every last thing, like the exchange of light. It's a tiny detail you could never catch, unless someone sat there. So you sort of also bring that. Because not only is the film kind of dealing with how images become fixed once they're filmed, and you sort of, it's an incredible piece of work in a way, because you're unfixing images which feel fixed. It's really a beautiful piece of work. I think it travels so well. It's just it sets an agenda and it answers itself at the same time. It's really neat. And yet, exactly, it's sort of, not only do you scrutinise it, but you draw our attention to various other things, and then you talk about that as authority. And then the way you're adding different layers of your scrutiny becomes, your forensic scrutiny, which comes across as direction, becomes a process of imagination. And this film just carried beautifully.
Yeah, no, it kind of did a lot more than I thought it was going to do when I was making it. I made it, that's good. I mean, I think there are probably things I wasn't thinking about, particularly when I.
Would you mind talking about the inspiration for it? I kind of read that once.
I think it was, well actually I've revised what I've said in quite a few interviews over the years, and was that it was inspired by Francois Truffaut's film Day for Night. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but and I saw it. I only saw it once before 1976, so I can't remember it very clearly. But Day for Night is a film within a film. It's a film about a director making a film and the actors in the film. And there's a scene in the film which is a very, very elaborate setup where, I don't know if other people have seen it, I think there are kind of snow machines, kind of like making the streets snowy, and it's actually, so all these different aspects of the film set, the exterior film set, are changed. And there are lots of extras in the film, lots of people walking around in the background. And in the film, all of these people are directed. And I had to admit, at the time to myself, I felt so stupid, because up until that point, I thought if you saw a feature film and there were people walking by in the background, I thought they were real people. I thought they were people just going about their business. I didn't realise that in most feature films, of course there are exceptions, every person you see in the film is directed. So I kind of, that was the kind of inspiration for making this. But then afterwards, not all that long ago, I was reading a book about, people know about Mark Boyle, the Boyle family artists. Mark Boyle is known for lots of things. He's recently died. He originally did a big variety of things, including kind of light shows for rock bands. But he also did something called the Sensual Laboratory, where, coming back to the theme of chance, they would do these sort of performances where they might have a diagram of somebody's body on the wall, and then you'd ask somebody blindfolded to throw a dart at it, and whatever part of the body it hit, they would then take like a sample from that part of the body of the person who was the subject and project it, you know, the little extracts of bodily fluids, or kind of looking at kind of the close-up of skin. And he also he's better known for things, a project that he did which was called Journey to the Surface of the Earth, where he'd do similar things where you throw a dart at a map and then you go to that place on the map and then blindfolded throw a rectangular frame out into space, and then wherever that landed he would make absolutely perfect casts, copies of that piece of ground. So you might have seen in the Tate and things, he did a lot of things like to do with an area of a London street, or it might be a field somewhere, but basically it's a random composition within the frame that was reproduced very, very naturalistically in 3 dimensions and put on the wall. And yeah, what's striking about these images, of course, is that they all look like fantastic, artistically composed things, which are completely arbitrary. But one thing that he did, I've gone off the point, one thing he did which I realised that I did read about at the time, and I think it was probably a performance that one of these mythical performances that, you know, somebody writes about but nobody ever really saw, was he invited people to a performance, and in a building that you entered by the back entrance, and people turned up to see this performance, and went in through the back entrance to the building and then found themselves in what looked like a little theatre space that had curtains across the front of the front and a row of seats, so it was as if like it was a cinema or a theatre space. And then when everybody arrived and sat down, he drew the curtains open, and it was a shop window onto a street. So people were just sitting watching what actually happened on the street. And the mythology is that, I think his studio was in that space, but they had to move out or something. So the mythology is that while people were sitting watching what was going on in the street, they kind of left the building. People were just left to stay as long as they wanted, wondering whether any of these things that were going on in front of them were actually staged. You know? And they weren't. It was just real life becomes strange because of that framing. Yeah. So that may have well been the other element of inspiration for it.
It's funny, when I first saw that film too, I assumed it was a piece of found footage.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's found footage. I mean, it's interesting that I think that people think that more and more because it looks more and more like ancient history as well. So it's quite interesting that the film sort of quite often gets, I think, you know, sort of sixth form college students and things like that. It's part of the syllabus. So a lot of students get introduced to it, and I've read sort of things online. For example, things like people say it was made before colour film was invented. I guess if you're 18, then yeah, maybe 16, 1976 might as well be 1876.
Absolutely.
And other people have said, oh, it's made before editing got sophisticated, that's why it's only 2 shots. So, what shall we do? We've shown about 19 minutes, and I've got about 119 out of that.
Pick one randomly. Yeah.
Should we do one randomly? Yeah. That's quite a good idea. Quite a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah.
How will we do it? What's your advice?
I can't see what's on there. I haven't got a
You haven't got the glasses? Okay, well done, great.
So I just take one, because I actually don't know what they are.
Go on then.
Okay.
But just don't take the third one.
Just
Just don't take the third one.
The third one was the one, oh, well, you could do. I should have done the best one.
How do we make pictures